Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one. Back with another one. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Yes, yes. We're talking about Cambodia and Thailand in this historical little research I did. I did some streams on the Thailand stream. Don't pay it no mind from 3 years ago. It's kind of crazy, whatever. You know how it is. And, I had to come with, same microphone, same microphone. Hold on. Had to take that windscreen off, man. Like, sound a little muffled. You know how that goes. But enough about this mic. But you get what you get, and we see what's what out here, and you know, make sure who's talking here, and yeah. Let me look at that later. This is getting graphic. I had to I had to bump that off. You know how that goes. And trying to keep this channel protected. It's a wall, but I'm still standing on it. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. But let me see. Let me hear the share. So we got to go to Coomer, right? Let's talk about Coomer. Okay. And let me get back over here. Okay. Let's talk about Coomer, right? Now, I talk about Coomer, Cambodia, probably about, about 3 years ago. Like it's something, right? And I got to say, good research on my part. Yeah, I'm enjoying this new chair. And the leather chair you see in the background with all had my hoodies and all that stuff. That was that I had that thing like from 2019. That was a gaming chair. And that gaming chair, I had that like I believe, yeah, I had that like I had that like since 2019, bro. And when I had that in 2019 and those long live streams, I was on other people's panels. That was a chair, that was like my headrest. And I was balanced, bro. Wore that shit out for 5 years. It's still sittable. It's just it unwore itself out. The bottom of it then got a hole in it. I don't wore it out. Good times in those streams, long live streams, and especially content. 3 years ago, I had the same chair. This is a different chair. This is like a work economic chair. But I'll let y'all see. But I'm gonna put this up the screen. I'm gonna big it up. We're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna tell you what it's about. Okay, let's read right here. Okay, in Cambodia, the second great Khmer empire to arise after the fall of Funan was that of the Angkor, was that of Angkor. But the ancient Cambodian empire held over from the 9th to 15th centuries, but the city of Angkor was located in modern Cambodian province of Siem Reap, which in the northwest of the country, Angkor itself a Cambodianized itself as Cambodianized interpretation of the Sanskrit word of Nagara, which means city. And this is Angkor, by the way. Angkor, or pronounce Angkor. That's in Kumar of Cambodia. And I think it's still standing today. I haven't been to Cambodia. I would love to visit. If I take a trip to it one day and just look at these artifacts. Shouts out to the brother with Real History, realhistory.com. True information of the stuff that you can find and historical references and go back to and cultures and things like that. From the 19th to from the 9th to the 15th centuries, Kumar Kingdom at Angkor was the most powerful agricultural prestigious culture in the Southeast Asia. But the Kumars have lived for millennia and in this region and had earlier kingdom known as Funan and Senia. These kingdoms were the superpowers of the region in the ancient times, but as of late, it has been dominated by the new regional superpowers of the time, namely China in the north, Java to the south. In 800 CD, like they said, 800 AD, right? As Kumar officially in the Javanese court returned to his homeland and declared himself the new king, the new god king, and took the name of Yavaman II. He declared that the full independence from Java, Ankar reached its first peak, and with the accession of Surveyorman II and its 1112 CE or 1112 CE or 1112 CE. I'll say 1112 CE. That's the year 1112. Okay. That's like, yeah, that's like almost 600, almost like 800 years ago, some shit like that. Let me subtract that. It says surveying and explain the expansion of Kingdom of Vietnam and Thailand. And we're going to talk about Thailand in a minute. And built and was leaned for the Shiva temple of Angkor Wat. Okay. Let's look up how many years ago it said 1112. Right. That's 912 years ago. 1112 to 2024 will be 912 years ago if you subtract it. Amazing, ain't it? 912 years ago, what we call, Java Anchor, right? According to this information, right? And this the server name, that was 912 years ago when this happened. Amazing, ain't it? I subtract from 2024. Amazing. Amazing. And I got that on the cell phone calculator, by the way. If you want to know what that was. But anyways, but the southern Vietnamese state of Champa would not be subjugated. But in 1177, that's like 800 and something years ago, by the way, 1177 CE, the shamans of Vietnam regrouped and launched a covert counterattack, but quietly sailed up to the Great Lake of the central Cambodia, but a tunnel sap to attack Angkor. With the attack, the but the Khmer were not done, but they immediately regrouped in an attempt to take back Angkor. But a cousin of the executed king had led to charge, and Angkor was retaken around 1180 CE or AD or CE, how you want to say it. The victorious prince were crowned a King Yavaman the fourth. I mean Yavaman the seventh, and for the next 4 decades, Yavaman the seventh would reign over Angkor's greatest period, which he kind of did. And I'm gonna read this part. The Yavaman the seventh's reign was the prince of the pinnacle of the Khmer culture. But after his death, things began to slip away. By the 15th to 16th centuries, the Thai kingdom of the Atahaya Ayu Ayuhata or something like that, or I say Ayahuta or something like that. I don't say Ayuhatia. Yeah, something like that. Kingdom of Ayuhatia was that's a mouthful. In assessance of the after several unsuccessful attempts after destroying Kumers and the finally sacked Ankar in 1431 CE or AD. They have it over here. And then again, 1594 CE, but the last king forced the Kumar and they abandoned their capital of Ankar. But King Kumar eventually regrouped in a new capital at Phnom Penh and many miles in the south, but the glory period of Khmer history was over. This is their history, right? And this is Cambodia pre-Angkor. This is pre-Angkor, by the way. Angkor. You got the Angkor temple facing the people of the time. We talked about Vietnam last week. Shouts to the ones that did support. And then you got the Khmer statue, and you see this. That's what they into. And then you see this type of stuff. So over in Cambodia, continually subjugate its now more powerful Mongol neighbors, as especially in their each of them in their turn gained in the control of Cambodia, but participated in the movement of the Mongol people in Cambodia. But finally, in 1863 CE, the Cambodia became the French territory. By then, has all been looted. But then Kumar had been absorbed, prodding to the current inhabitants. That's what you got now. It's Cambodia, and then you got the Cambodia head Buddha, 600 CE. That's an old statue. That's like 1,000 years old. And let's look at the Kuma one. You see all these head statues. You see that's their culture right here. This is their old culture, and this dates back around that period, like it says 600 CE around these periods. Buddha, they was into Buddhism or Buddhism or how you want to say it. That's the religion they was into at the time. I mean, it's still idol worship, religions. It's all the same. That's why I don't subscribe to it, but I understand it's a cultural thing. We talk about modern history. That's what they practice. That's what they believed in. And this is people of different cultures now. 600 CE, of course, you see the actual statue of their cultures. This is like idols they worship, and they serve these. You still got Asian people serve these today. Um, Khmer has uniqueness. These are dark cultures of people, but Asian like or different people like. We don't know what they actually look like in the skull, but that's the first part of it. Then we got Khmer second, right? You see all this right here, right? See on the left, you see the pictures. I'm just scrolling down, and then the Shiva, like the Hindu and all that. You see a little bit of that in Buddhist culture, Asian culture, and then the Hindu and all that. So that's pretty much it. Kumar is one of them things like that. Okay, okay, good. Got the scroller good. Now, modern Cambodian people, yeah, they look. This is what they look like now. No disrespect to the peoples, but I ain't trying to hate on them. I don't care for them like that. But these people, this is Cambodia of today. This is no disrespect or anything. This is how, they culture people, people, right? But when you say, but in reality, it's quite another matter. Talking about the indigenous dark part, that's fine. We see that. Yeah, they're a little darker, but that's okay. That's Cambodia. They don't have. I'll say this. They have a class in that system. They have a system, but it's not like America. It's similar, but America wants to dominate everything through French territories and English territory. You already know these people. You travel, yeah. These people. We don't see them coming to America. We always see these students what they want, and I've met a Cambodia person in Emory. Nice people, sweet as hell, and I was at the time I was up and down with what I really wanted, but at the time I was out of relationships after this is like 2010 and all that. But it's a lot of them go to Emory still, but you see them in Emory University, you see these students all the time. This is your average people you see, they got money. And the ones that don't have money, I ain't trying to make this a color thing. I just wanted this is observation of what they are now and then the indigenous, so it don't matter. This is what they look now, modernized. These are your modern Cambodians. These are the standard. I don't care about this world population. Shouts out old bro, but he's teaching that's educational. So basically, that's it. You got the ancient into modern. This is we're talking about history of the two, right? So let me do myself here a favor, and we'll get to we're gonna get to Thailand right now. Let me get this out the way. Thailand. We'll get to Thailand just a second. But okay, but what I explained in Cambodia, it's pretty short on that one because they have a lot of interesting relics. Southeast Asia has a hell of a history, dark history. And when you talk about aboriginals and things like that and seed of Yaphet in the scriptures like Japhet, we're talking about those people. Now, they could be different peoples. You got different people. It don't matter if those three groups in the scriptures, like they said in the Old Testament or the Tetragrammaton or the Torah, every culture has their own thing. But other cultures like Buddhist cultures don't have that. They talk about themselves and other peoples, how they identify us. So it's pretty much interesting how I look at this and the historical stuff. So let's go to Thailand and pick up the screen once again, like we did before, and then we're gonna read. And my thoughts on Cambodia, it's very interesting. And the first time I read it, when I found this site years ago, I said, I'm impressed. I said, where was this when I needed from my old channel? I could have been on this. But shouts out to dude, he created around the same year this channel created, and then we got successful, and that's what it is. That's what it's about. The work has to be done, right? The work has to be done. As we started, as we stated earlier, that the people of the Indus Valley civilization did not only live in the Indus Valley, rather extended the civilization range from the Persian Gulf to Southeast Asia. I just talked about Indus Valley a couple of months ago when I started this run with the pre-recorded series of my historical stuff and things like that. And it's here to the Southeast Asia that we can perhaps get a glimpse of how many times lived in their pure state. We now take a brief look at the poorly researched, little understood ancient civilization of Thailand and Cambodia, Vietnam, and Indonesia. I talked about Indonesia, and then I talked about Vietnam. I talked Indonesia before Vietnam. I talked about Vietnam last week and Indonesia, and I talked about my thoughts of Indonesia. Interesting culture. It's on both of them. This dude did a great job on both of them, and Cambodia and Thailand. I talked about these in live streams and stuff like that. Now, Thailand was derailed by another individual from another group, so I'm not going to mention his name. So, Bang Chang, we began at Bang Chang, a little known, took northern Thailand. Legend has it that Bang Chang, the archaeological site. Yeah, the archaeological site was discovered by a clumsy American college student who fell in the main road of Bang Chang and noticed cremix eroding out of the roadbed. But the first evacuations 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 at the site they were conducted in 1967 by archaeologists. But Avidia Anticosia, Vidia Anticosia, this and so subsequently evacuations by by the fine arts of department in Bangkok. Yeah, in Bangkok, and the University of Pennsylvania, but under the direction of Dr. Dr. Chester F. Gorman and Plitz, and Dr. Gorman and Plitz. I ain't gonna say the last name; that's a mouthful. Have revealed evidence of the prehistoric occupation of beginning possibly as an early as 3,600 BCE, continuing until about 200 CE. So, what is remarkably of Bang Chang, it is given and its people the culture that was technically advanced in any other world. Indeed, they have fully developed Bronze Age metallurgy, metallurgy, and by they did not use to make weapons. Interesting. You hear that? Let's read this part again. They had a fully developed Bronze Age metallurgy, but they did not use it to make weapons. See, old fashioned. You see what I'm saying? Indigenous, smart. Most people didn't need to. That's the culture of the mindset of people. And they know sophisticated building techniques and did not build a great structure. As a matter of fact, they took on the none of the trappings and other advanced cultures with sophisticated technology. Even their social organization was easy. They lived in villages. Yeah, they lived in villages with a little social hierarchy. Question: Why did they live? Why did they live like that, or so simply? The answer that seems to be here's the answer. The answer seemed to be religion, organized dogmatic religion. From the earliest time, religion, known as idolatry, by the way, that's what we call it over here. That's in the truth of Yah, but according to this information, it's religion, like what you would say modernized religion, idol worship, right? And everybody does it out in the villages. This ain't just a civilized society. In societies that are indigenous, they practice this too, and they still have knowledge. Y'all think these people are dumb? Let me ask y'all something. Y'all think these indigenous people, they're not dumb. They as smart as the average people. And this guy's giving great information. And yeah, this is their culture. You learn and you're like, wow, one with the earth, right? But that's what they believe. I can't change what he believes. Still this day, I still don't. This is what they believe in, right? So was the impetuous and driving force the building of the first large structures, temples around these temples, homes and business were built around these temples, homes and businesses, walls were built. But thus were the first cities created. And this is the answer right here. He said religion. And it so has appeared that the last ascension of the Southeast Asia people was due to the lack of its requirement, an all encompassing, unifying religion, because the true form and one of the great Indian religions of Buddhism and Hinduism had been introduced to the accepted by these civilizations took and they took off. They're all devotedly religious, and all their great structures had religious context. But the proceeding, observation, nothing more. And that's what they perceive observation. Now, this is the Mani people. This is in Thailand. This is a the indigenous people that do exist, by the way. I talked about them in pre-records, like my old pre-records, and then a few on the live streams with you know, Dre and myself, we talked about this stuff. That's the people that, and I think he mentioned you can't go there. You have to have a special requirement. So that's the things that you got to look at. A lot of times, these people live in extreme conditions, but they can handle it. Like I said, the Mani people and a mix of the Adamese people. These people have culture. They still exist to this day. So please. I got sidetracked. Apologize, y'all. I'm gonna talk about the Mani people. That was some good tea. Okay. The Mani people, descendants of the original of people of Thailand. They're part of the ancient ancestries of, these, and they kept it culture. The Mani have lived in the hilly interior of the southern Thailand for thousands and perhaps of tens of thousands of years. For the last several thousand years, at least, they have done so in close in association with the succession of the later arrivals of the Theodoid and Monkumer and Indian Malay, and Mongol. I ain't gonna say the actual term. I'll say Mongol people and other groups. And although many do not seem to have the intermarry, they don't have to intermarry much with the outsiders. That's why they have their communities. That's why they're not been tampered with in Thailand, who mostly despise them. Yeah, they despise them. They have their own weaponry and all that, and their contact was still close enough for them to have acquire some of the cultural traits from their neighbors. Yet, but these other tiny groups have amazingly done without losing their separate identity and a tribal character. So they're tribal. These are tribal indigenous cultures, kind of like what you see from the Southwater Geechees and the Carolinas. My dad went out there, and you can't even touch them. It's like it's cultures like that still, and they never intermarry, and that's beautiful. So now let's talk about the kingdom of Funan in Cambodia. We just talked about Cambodia. That's why I put them two together, because to give y'all the research, and you put these two together, and we got time. We got plenty of time. Not much. We ain't gonna stick on Thailand too long, so it's gonna get to the historical stuff. Historically, the first great Southeast Asian kingdom that we know anything about is Khmer Kingdom of Funan. Funan was a Cambodian kingdom located around the Mekong Delta. We know very little about it except it was powerful seafaring and trading state. This is evidence of the discovery of the Roman and Chinese Indian goods found there during the archaeological excavations, but the capital is thought to initially have been located at Via Harapura near modern Phnom and Penh, Cambodia. But the Funanese excuse me, the Fananese Empire reaches the furthest extended under the rule of one of Fan Shining Mang, or we pronounce it Fan, yeah, it's actually Fan Shimang. Yeah, Fan Shining or Fanamese people. Yeah. Or Fananan people or Fananan like that, sort of. That's what it means. But in early third century, okay, C8 at this time, Fanan, yeah, Fananing or Fanon. I call him Fanon, because it's got a U in the name. So extended far south of Malaysia, as far as west and west of Burma. Now it's known as most people pronounce it Myanmar or Myanmar or Myanmar, how you want to pronounce it. The Fananese or Fananamese established a strong system of the mercantilities. Yeah, mercantilism, commercial monopolies, but that will become the pattern of the future empires in the region. The Fanishiman expanding the Fanon fleet, but improved the Fanamese bureaucracy, but establishing a quasi-feudal system, but that left local customs and identity largely intact, particularly in the empire's farther reaches. So the Fanamese or the Fanon people, or famine, or you want to see the U silent, they just call themselves Fan Man, right? That's what it really means. These are the people. They're from Cambodia, but stretch it to Thailand, modern old Thailand, right? So I understand what's what. I understand, you know, but I talked about them like 3 years ago, and then you see the cultures again. So we got to go in here. The Mon of Thailand. We're gonna talk about the Mon of Thailand too. So we got plenty of time. Okay, y'all give me a second. Let me get this thing because I don't want to go down. Okay. And the kingdom is said to have been influenced by Indian culture, and Sanskrit was the largely of the court of the Ptolemies advocated Hinduism. Later in the 5th century, after also Buddhism, and records shows that the taxes were paid in silver and gold pearls and perfume, wood, and Chinese merchants. But a reporting that was the Vietnamese practiced slavery, but that justice was rendered through trial by ordeal, but including such a methods of carrying red hot iron chains and retrieving gold, rings, and eggs from boiling water. They was brutal back then. So a lot of brutality back then. The Mon of Thailand. In about 600 CE, the Champa Vietnam, more than about a later, sacked Phanamine or Fanan, brought it under vassalage, but this turn events allowed the Mon of Thailand to break away from the Phanamese vassalage, but establish their own kingdoms. But the most important of these Mon kingdoms were Davarati, which dates from approximately the 6th and 11th century CE or AD or CE. It was centered around the Shalpira River Valley in modern day Thailand, with the Nakatun Pathum as the capital. This is Mon of Thailand, right? The Mon 800 CE, Thailand's 700 CE. That's what you have the rituals and the cultures, okay? But the Mon were rarely political dominant rather the the continued, I mean, continually under the shadow of the strong neighbor of the Dafarati, and was prevented the geopolitical barriers, but from establishing from the political within other man and states to the west of the southern Myanmar, Burma, and then with the Mon state of the Thailand. But consequently, Dafarati experienced a political domination by the neighboring peoples, at least in separate in occasions. But in the 10th century, the Burmese conquered the Mon of the state of Taitatan, which was the west of the Tentanizirium Yama from 1100 CE to 1300 CE. And Khmer and Cambodia arose the east of the reestablishment of their empire. And finally, the late 13th century, with the Davarati, was absorbed by the current inhabitants of Thailand of the Mongol Thais. That's what you got today, right? And that's Thailand 1200 CE. And you see the cultures. Thai and the Mongol people were already immigrated to southern China, 9th to 10th century, and the first found in small settlements, and they were under Khmer hegemony. And in the beginning of the 13th century, the generally succeeded to the free reign of Khmer, who had previously conquered the Mons. And that's what you got, First Kingdoms and all that, modern people of Thailand. Click here for statues of Mon. I'll show you that just a second. That's the Mon statues. It's not pretty much, it's just Buddhism, again, religion, like they said, the cultures, that's what you get. This is what you get from Thailand, the Mons people and all that. We're not going to get into in depth, and we're just going to look at that, and that's the past. I'm not going to read all the rest of that. I've talked about this before. Original code, Thai culture, and all that, and Mon blood. That's the modern day uh, Thailand people. They come from these modern Thailand of this era of 800 CE, the ones that conquered, and then you see the colors and that. So modern Thailand people, descendants of the light skin, talking about the invaders, that's the French and all that. We already know that. Me and Dre talked about this a lot. Another matter, and we ain't gonna get into it, and that's the Thailand people. You see, there's different cultures in Asia, like it ain't just like, yeah, it's a class and all that, but this is a culture they are. We talked about this before. You see this on the live stream I did on Thailand. Y'all check that out. We talked about all this. It's no need, like, and then Tiger Woods and his family, his dad is a so-called African American or Negro man or American black man or whatever, and his mother is Thai, right? And this is how you get Tiger. He's would be considered, they would call him in Asia, they would call him Blasian, but it don't matter. He's still American mixed with Thai, but he is American. So, but he has an Asian background. So that just defeats the whole case of that. And that's it with Tiger Woods. I'm not going to read what it says, but we talk about this in 1998, and then he went over there. He been to Thai when he was a kid. So this is it on Thailand, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it. And we almost out of time, but that's it. That's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about Thailand and things like that, and then Cambodia. I started talking about Cambodia first because I felt it's necessary to talk. But Thailand, I showed you the Mons and all this other stuff. That's the two that I talked about in this video. I don't know what I'm gonna talk next. I'll pick something and you'll enjoy, and y'all enjoy your day. And like I said, it's been real. We do the damn thing, and we just keep it pushing. I'm just gonna knock this off real quick. So with that, shalom to the people of Israel and the Gentiles. Hope y'all get this knowledge, just a little history, modern history stuff, a little scripture talk there and there, a little science, but then back it up with the historical modern references. Shouts out to Real History .com. It's about what's real out here, and then put the information in practice. So with that, until next time, I'm signing off and I'm out.